In today's video, I want to talk about English paper piecing. Hi, I'm Kim Jamieson-Hirst of Chatterbox Quilts, and today I am looking at the Handy Pocket Guide on English Paper Piecing by Becky Goldsmith, and it's published by C&T Publishing, so thanks so much to C&T Publishing for sending me this book to share with you. Now, I've never done an English paper piecing project, so I was very interested to see if this book would be or would have enough information in it that I can understand it and actually do a project. And the answer is yes. The answer is also no, I haven't done a project yet, but I have a much better understanding of this technique after going through this book. So it's a very comprehensive, very small, but very comprehensive guide on English paper piecing. And it also includes 8 blocks, so you could actually start making the projects, as soon as you've learned all the information in the front part of the book. All right, so she goes through and starts with telling you different supplies. And what I like about this is the fact that she's very specific with the different types of thread and glue and paper that she uses. So that's really helpful because I know that Becky is really good at English paper piecing. So I like the fact that she shares the specific tools that she is using. She also goes into details about getting your fabric prepped, how to start and stop your stitching, what knots to use, or maybe not to use when you're doing this technique. She also talks about how to use the patterns. And the patterns in this book, and there are the patterns at the back of the book, I'll show you that in a minute, are there for you to copy, or you could scan the QR code here and you could download those and print them out right away for yourself too. So that's very helpful, different ways you can do it. She talks about getting the paper ready, I should say. We've already talked about the fabric. Now we're talking about getting the paper ready, because what you're going to do is you're going to have, the different parts of the block printed on paper, and then you're going to put your fabric to that to create those different pieces that will come together to create the entire block. And she talks about different ways that you can actually use the paper with the fabric. So you can either stitch it on there, baste it together, or you can glue baste it. So she tells you about both of those methods. She also talks about how to put the different pieces together. You're going to be hand stitching this, and there are different stitches and different ways to do that, and she explains them here too, so you'll get the best results. As we move forward, once we've learned all these things, we want to start making some blocks, right? So as I mentioned, there are 8 different blocks in this book, and they're really interesting blocks, I think. They look really complicated at first when you look at them, but when you take them apart and make them a little bit at a time, I think they're fairly simple to do. So she shows you the block, she explains how to make it. You've got the pieces here, you'll see you'll put a couple together, 2 more together, you'll put 4 together, you'll put them all together. So she kind of breaks it down in this diagram and in the text as to how you actually construct each of these blocks. And you'll find there's different tips with them as you go along too, where appropriate. So you can go through and see all the different blocks. I'll just show you a few of them here. Okay, and we'll come up to block 8, let's say. So they're all really pretty blocks. They're all really very interesting, kind of cool. They're not just, they're not very difficult to make, but they're not the simplest either. So I think that they're really interesting blocks. And when you've made them, if you want to make all 8 of them, I think it'd be great to put them together into a quilt, right? When you get to the back of the book, the patterns are there. I mentioned you could either scan the QR code and print them out, or you can copy them from the back of the book. And what's nice about it is she tells you how many copies you need to make of each piece. She also tells you which block it's for. I guess those are kind of essential to know, right? So block 1, for example, make 8 copies of this one. Block 1, there's your centerpiece, so you just need 1 of those, and 4 copies for your corner triangles. So you'll see on each of the blocks, there's all the different pieces, and she tells you how many copies to make. And then, of course, you can refer to the instructions that are previously in the book for how to put them all together. Now, when you come to near the back of the book, on page back here, she has coloring pages. So this is a great way to audition if not necessarily the fabrics, I guess you could cut fabrics that small if you want to, but the colors of the fabrics. You could color in your block and get an idea of what it's going to look like. And I think that's really helpful because depending on where you put what color in the block, it can create a different look to the block. So I think these are really helpful. I would copy these. There's 3 blocks for each, copies of each block for each block. All right, so there's 3 of block 1, 2, 3, 4. So you could just color them in here if you wanted to, but I never like to do that in my book, so I would probably photocopy them and then color them in and see what they look like and see which one I like the best before I start picking out fabric to create that block. So this is also very helpful to have this in here because there's a lot of pieces in these blocks, and it would be very helpful to see what they're going to look like. Make sure you're going to get the result you hope for when you make the block with fabric. So if you're new to English paper piecing, I highly recommend you get this book, this handy pocket guide by Becky Goldsmith and called English Paper Piecing. And if you want to get your own copy, check up above in the description below because I'll put a link there for you to do just that. Now, before I go, I want to say a really big thank you and give a shout out to my Patchwork Pal members. These are members in my YouTube channel membership, and they help to support the Chatterbox Quilts YouTube channel by their small monthly fees. In return, they get early access to all my videos, custom emojis, and lots of other fun perks. If you're interested in supporting my channel, just click on the join button below any of my videos and you can get all the details on the Patchwork Pal membership and even become a member today. And for more helpful quilting information, be sure to go to my website at www.chatterboxquilts.com.